Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build MLB edition, the first one for Monday, May 20th. There's a two-game early slate, so I thought I'd just jump on and just let you know what I'm going to do, what I'm thinking for the slate, and hopefully it helps you out. If it does, please give this video a like and also consider subscribing to the channel. Helps us out quite a bit, lets us know that we are helping, helps the community grow. Also, this video is sponsored by DFS Hero. You can see the projections right in front of you over there. You can give them a shot, try out their projections, their sims, and all that cool stuff. 15% off discount if you hit our link in the video description below. All right, let's dive right into it. Not waste any more time because it is only a two-game slate. And there's not really that much to go over. All right, away, let's look at the pitching. Obviously, Dylan Cease looks really good up top. Elite strikeout rate. He's not going to give up a lot of power. Just in general, he is always going to feel pretty good. The only problem is twofold on this slate. Don't care about the price, obviously, and the upside is warranted. The issue is he's facing the Braves. So certainly, if you want to, you can fade Cease and just stack the Braves and hope they just get to him early and just demolish him, and that could easily end up nuking the slate. The only problem is the Braves are still going to be pretty owned because it's a two-game slate. So instead of a full stack, I'm probably more interested in just picking my spots and hoping that he has a decent game, and then the Braves that I use, score some points. So this year and just historically, he's best gotten to from the left side of the plate. This year, a 165 ISO against lefties. Ground ball rate drops from 42% to 27%. And the fly ball percentage spikes from 23% to 48% compared left side to right side. And then he also is walking lefties at an 11% clip compared to a 5% clip. So the strikeouts are going to continue to be there, but the power and just about everything else looks a little bit worse against the left side of the plate. So Ozzy Albies, Matt Olson, Michael Harris, Jared Kelenic, those guys all look really good, assuming they are in the starting lineup. And obviously, if you want to do the full stack, you can round it out with the righties, Marcell Ozuna, Ronald Acuna, and all those guys. So there's nothing wrong with the Braves as a full stack. It would be kind of fun if you can get, somewhat low-owned Braves on a two-game slate with Cease being so chalky. It's really tough to predict what that ownership would be with a full stack. If you look at the stack IQ percentage over at DFS Hero, they do still come in as the second chalkiest stack of the slate. Obviously, every team on the slate is going to be somewhat owned. I mean, even the White Sox are the dead last stack here, and they're coming in with 70% stack ownership. But the Jays are coming in as uber chalk. So you're still going to get a little bit of leverage. I mean, a lot of leverage, really. If you stack the Braves and don't play Cease and he just gets crushed, then you don't have a 65+% owned Cease, which is a win if he fails. And then you have a full Brave stack, which not everybody's going to have. So that's certainly viable on a two-game slate. I don't have any issue with that if you're doing a lot of lineups. I'm going to have a single entry scope here. And for that, I am going to play Cease. But since it's only two games, I'm also going to pick on him a little bit, whether it be with, one or two Braves or a full three-man secondary stack. I think, either things are good and worth doing. This doesn't feel, it's a two-game slate, so this doesn't feel like a slate where I'm stacking a full five guys from any one team. It's more of like maybe a three-man stack and then pick my spots from there. Maybe a four-man stack if I feel really, really good about what I'm looking at. All right, moving on. We got Jose Barrios taking on the White Sox. Obviously, he's got the best matchup of the slate. The White Sox they're not a very scary lineup. That said, you can get to him from left side of the plate, 39% fly ball rate, 226 ISO on the year, 10% walk rate. So it's not as good on left side of the plate. He's been really good at home, 23 fantasy points per game. So he projects as the second best pitcher. He projects as the second highest owned pitcher, and he's only 7.6K, and it's the White Sox. And he's in the optimal lineup 51% of the time. So I tend to just think I'm going to eat the chalky pitchers on this slate. If I'm running a lot of lineups, I'm absolutely stacking up some White Sox and focusing on the lefties first. Andrew Benintendi, Gavin Sheets, those guys. So that's where I'd start. But, a full White Sox stack on two-game slate when they're going to be the lowest owned stack is certainly in play. And if you're going to do that, obviously I would limit your ownership to Barrios. But if I'm doing one lineup, I'm going to see some Barrios and not really thinking that much about it because personally, it's a 2-game slate. If you just want to get a little skin in the game, that's what this video is all about. Just trying to give you like my, where I'm coming from. But I wouldn't go very hard on a 2-game slate. I don't go very hard on a showdown slate either. So if your options are limited, I wouldn't just go all in on these tiny slates just because you need everything to break right to get a takedown. So yeah. Moving on here, we have Eric Fetty. He is taking on the Blue Jays, who are chalk. So I actually like Fetty a good amount. Not just because the Blue Jays are chalk and not that good. They've been very, very underwhelming overall on the year. Now they are dangerous. They do have a collective 173 ISO against righties, so they can certainly tee off here. But here's the reality: they're the chalkiest offense on a 2-game slate. So I have no problem either just picking my spots with them or doing a full fade and hoping it works to my advantage. Another way to instantly leverage that ownership is to play the guy that they're facing. So if Fetty comes in and just rips them to shreds, and Fetty wrecks as the third highest owned pitcher, and the Jays aren't good and I faded them, that's another way to gain instant leverage. So we can definitely try that instead of stacking up the Braves and fading Cease, which I feel is not optimal at all. So it's baseball, so I could be completely wrong about everything I'm saying, really. But if we're trying to be logical here, that is my favorite approach as far as trying to get different, especially if I'm doing just one lineup. So Fetty is another guy, it makes sense. It's traditional splits here. He's giving up 159 ISO against lefties. Not really bad numbers across the board, though. Not a ton of power being given up to either side of the plate. Not really walking batters. The only real negative for him is when he's facing lefties, his strikeout rate dips by 7%. So that's substantial, obviously, but he's been pretty good this year. And the Jays do strike out a little bit, and they've been really underwhelming in their chalk. So you can definitely fire up the Jays. They're chalky for a reason, but that's just not what I'm going to do. I don't like to eat chalk on big slates, and on a small slate where they're coming at like 27% owned, I'm very willing to just look the other way. And if I lose because of that, so be it. It's just a 2-game slate. All right, last guy, we got Reynaldo Lopez. He is certainly appealing too. I think the Padres are the third highest owned stack right now. They are. So the Padres are also appealing. I think I'd probably go both sides of this game for sure. Reynaldo Lopez has had a good 2024 for sure. Another guy, you look at left side of the plate, 13% walk rate. That spikes considerably from 4% on the other side. And he's got a 21.8% K rate, which drops by about 8% from the right side. So, and a 32% fly ball rate against lefties. So another guy you're going to attack with lefties for the most part. Obviously, if you're going to stack the Padres, you can also get in, the mashers like Tatis and Machado and stuff like that. So you can definitely get the righties in and feel pretty good about a full Padres stack, especially if they're only going to be like 17% owned across the board, basically. 2-game slate, I like that quite a bit. I don't really want to pick on Reynaldo Lopez, but 2 games going to 2 games. So if that's what we have to do to get a little bit different, I would just kind of look at the closer numbers and see like who really stands out. Right now, that is going to be starting with the lefties. Jake Cronenworth looks really good, probably the best lefty there. And then you can look at Jackson Merrill and Jerkson Profar and Luis Arias and stuff like that. So Padres look pretty good. They might be my favorite stack of the slate when you look at ownership and overall matchup. Honestly, it's a slate with pretty good pitchers in so-so spots. So I don't think any of the offenses look amazing. And the pitchers all could certainly fall into a trap. So it's a dicey slate for sure. But yeah, that pretty much does it for me. My personal strategy, eat the pitching chalk. I'm going to play Cease and Berrios. If I'm doing one lineup, that's how I'm starting my build. And then I'm fading the Jays for the most part. I'm either doing a full fade or I'm maybe doing a one-off of one guy I really like. And then probably going heavy on the Padres, maybe a sprinkling of the White Sox, and then I will also target my own pitcher in Cease with the Braves, the guys that, whoever makes the most sense as I go through that build. All right, so hopefully this helps you. It is just a 2-game slate, so you kind of can do whatever you want, but I just would not eat a ton of chalk on a 2-game slate and try to get a little bit different. So hopefully it helps. If it did, please give this video a like and also consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching and good luck.